Did you know you can create amazing oil paintings on paper? Today I'm going to show you how. I'm going to talk today about why you might want to consider painting on paper. You want to choose the right paper. Sometimes you'll need to prep the surface, and we'll talk about that. And I'm going to give you some tips and techniques for oil painting on paper. Let's go. What are the benefits of painting on paper? And how do you choose the right paper? Do you need to prep the surface? And let's have some tips and techniques on how to oil paint on paper. Well, it's affordable and it's portable. It's great for studies, experiments, quick sketches, and it's got some unique texture options. Canvas is more bumpy and the paper's smoother and you can get finer detail. Paper's portable. You can roll it up and carry it in your suitcase. It's lightweight. Paper is so cheap. It's good for experiments and just having fun. You don't have to worry about creating a masterpiece all the time. It brings a sense of calm to you and you're not wasting any supplies. It's important to choose the right paper. You can use any kind of paper, but it's got to be pretty heavyweight so it tolerates solvents and paint on it. You want at least 140 test paper. Now I have painted paintings with just sketch paper. But this type of paper you're going to have to treat first. You can either put gesso on it or some kind of sealant. And I've got one here that I'll show you that is recommended for sealing paper before you paint on it. The preferred paper is, or I prefer this paper, is Arches. It's cold pressed, 140 pound. It's I think it's a French paper, and it's Arches Huile de Oléo en français. But it's great paper. It's super thick. You can see it kind of nice and thick. These pads, I think they're about $10 to $15. They come in 9 by 12s and 12 by 16. If you decide to oil paint on regular paper, you do need to prep the paper. The reason for that is because the paint will sort of leach out from where you were painting it, and you'll have a little halo around it. And over time, the paint's going to deteriorate. So that's why it's important to prep your paper before you paint on it and seal it when you're done. Let me show you some of the ways you can seal your paper before you start on it. Now this is for regular paper only. So here's one of the ones I've used. It's just an acrylic gesso by Winsor & Newton. It's kind of a pasty kind of texture. And then this is another one. It's more of a liquid. It's Liquitex acrylic medium gesso. You can get all of these on Jerry's Artorama or Dick Blick, or even on Amazon. There's also the Gamblin Ground. This works really well. You can put this on any surface. And here's another one. This is Golden Fluid Matte Medium. It's a low gloss fluid acrylic. That's good for an underpainting before you even start. This is the shellac that I can recommend putting on an oil painting on paper. It's a good sealer. So I'll put links in the description to all of these products. Advantages to painting on paper. Because of paper's affordability, it's good for studies and quick sketches and experiments. When you compare paper to wood or canvases or panels, the weight makes it much easier to transport. Another consideration for choosing the right paper is picking something that has archival quality and acid-free options. That's always important for any painting that you want to do. So when you're going to apply gesso or acrylic medium to seal your surface, you apply 2 to 3 coats and you want to allow it to dry between layers. When you're all finished, sand lightly for a smoother finish. The alternative, of course, is ready-to-use oil painting paper. That would be the Arches. Some of the techniques you want to consider when you're doing oil painting on paper are: use less solvent. Use less solvent to avoid warping of your paper. Use thinner layers of paint for faster drying and durability. Avoid overly saturated layers to maintain your paper integrity. Let me show you a quick, simple demonstration. So what I do with my Arches paper is I take this board and I clip it to the top. I don't usually use anything more than Gamsol, and I usually use it kind of lightly. I don't prime on paper because I don't need to. So keep your paint kind of light. So obviously this isn't a real painting. I just wanted to do a real quick demo for you on paper so you could see how it works. You can see how tough it is, how it accepts the paint pretty well. Anyway, I really enjoy working on paper. Now the question might occur to you, well, how do I frame it? Well, you could glue it to a board, or you could just put it in an ordinary frame from like Aaron Brothers or Michaels or something. But you can see it doesn't run, the paper doesn't warp, and as I mentioned, it dries quickly. So with paper, you can mat it to a backing board and then have it framed, or you can use a floating frame technique. Common mistakes for using paper when oil painting include using an unsuitable paper, something that's too fragile and it's going to deteriorate with your paint, and also the paint will sort of soak up to the periphery so that whatever you're painting has kind of a halo effect. So stay away from those kind of papers. So use a nice thick paper, a regular paper, nice and thick, but treat it first with matte or some kind of acrylic paint, or use the Arches paper. There may be others that I don't know about, but you can experiment with that too. Always do something that's not important to you with these papers before you really settle down to do something that is meaningful or that you want to give somebody or sell. Now, let me ask you this. Have you thought about painting on paper? Share your thoughts and comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you felt like this was useful to you. I really appreciate your feedback. Thanks a lot. Have a great day painting.